Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, a literary podcast where we deep dive into the writings of your favorite novels. This autumn-ish, we are hosting a book club while we prepare our 10-part literary analysis of Sarah J. Maas's Heir of Fire.
This is Jack.
And I'm Amy.
And each week we'll discuss one book from our autumn-ish book club roster. By using our literary background, we'll provide our flash analysis of each book, as well as discuss listener thoughts.
This is part 2 of this week's episode, where we're discussing The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins.
The views expressed by the hosts are entirely their own and in no way represent the thoughts or intentions of the original author. This podcast is a discussion shared to spark thought and conversation on the characters and themes of this novel. The interpretations presented in this podcast are just a few of the many possibilities. Listeners are encouraged to read along and share their own analysis of the text.
Though the hosts speak mostly within the constraints of this book, series spoilers may be discussed with or without warning. Explicit language, as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, depression, self-harm, and death will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised. If you're enjoying the podcast, check out our Patreon for more exclusive content. You can find us at patreon.com/booktalkforbooktalk. So let's move from Peeta and performance, but just to performance and appearance in general. The Capitol.
Insane.
The way people augment their bodies and their appearance, their tattoos, their makeup, dyeing their skin. It's absurd, but it's an extreme of what people do today.
That's what it all is so insane, is that it's the extreme of what's already being done.
Yeah.
And who's to say that in 100 years it doesn't become that?
Exactly.
You know, we talk about, and this isn't me trying to shame women, but I'm gonna. No, this isn't me trying to shame women, but I think what is very unfair is that a lot of young women got lip fillers, facial fillers done, and done at a time that they didn't know that it was going to migrate, that you can't get rid of them. And sometimes you see some of these lip fillers and it just looks so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to insult any particular woman for that, but sometimes it just looks really bad and it just looks so, so bad. And yet the answer becomes, I want to get more. I have seen so many TikToks of women just saying, my friend says I have too much lip filler. Is that okay? I don't think so. And they have lip filler blindness and the body dysmorphia of these women who don't know what they look like now, or that before they looked plenty fine. There's this one, reality TV shows, Love Island, there you see the before photos and you're just thinking, what happened? Why did you decide to change how gorgeous you are? And they just don't see it anymore. And what happens when it's done to the absolute extreme, when the body dysmorphia has dysmorphed so much that you now have to augment yourself quickly, and especially for how everything is readily available, right? They can change whatever they want about themselves at a drop of a hat.
It was definitely a harsh commentary. And, you know, this is a time before social media, really, which is insanity, right? That it was already, the writing was already on the wall in terms of celebrity culture. And it only got worse with social media and influencer culture. And the fact that, give me whatever it takes quickly to alter my appearance, to fit the trends, but also that we allow society to feed on our insecurity of our appearances.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it. I get Botox.
I'm on a GLP-1, you know, like I'll be honest with these things. Like you get Botox, I'm on a GLP-1. Like I am not above anything. Like when I was 18, I had a breast reduction. Like I physically altered myself so that I could like myself. And I didn't like myself. I didn't want to be perceived a certain way. I hated the way I looked. I absolutely, because people, whenever I tell people I had a breast reduction, they always like to say, the first reaction people will say, oh, your back must have hurt. And I was like, no, I was 18 and I had great posture back in the day. I didn't have any back pain.
Right.
I despised myself. I hated myself so much that there was no other option.
And this is me making assumptions, but why'd you hate yourself? Because everybody fucking objectified you from the youngest age.
From 11, I had a D cup by the time I was 12, double beat D by the time I was 13. By the time I was 18, I don't even know what cup I was anymore because I was just in sports bras and they took 5 pounds of boob. And my nickname in high school was Tiggle Bitties. It's very triggering. I absolutely hate it. Tiggle Bitties is big old titties spelled backwards. I remember boys. I thought a boy was actually trying to hit on me and flirt with me. And all he did was, oh, my friends and I have a bet to see who can figure out how big your boobs are. And he spent like an hour trying to flirt with me. And I thought like for once a boy actually liked me. I mean, there's many reasons why I was extremely awkward. Like I just like hid myself. I was talking to my mom about like recently of how I worked out exclusively in sweatshirts despite how hot it would be because I didn't want anyone seeing me run. Mm-hmm. So like I was extremely objectified. I only hated myself because of society. Because I was watching a Victoria's Secret ad on TV and I broke down sobbing because I didn't look like them.
And that's what society has done to the citizens of Panem, because that's what society has done to us and continues to do to us through our media.
Yeah.
I think it's later in the series that you learn that like the most natural looking makeup, the no makeup look, is beauty base 0. And like, what an assessment of your worth for it to be base 0.
Yeah.
And then in book 3, in Mockingjay, you meet the tigress who has literally altered herself to look like a cat, sound like a cat.
And since then, there was a woman who did actually get plastic surgery to look like a cat since then.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. I mean, you see stories and, you know, social clips of people getting, you know, surgeries to like, you know, now they alter their ears to look like fairies and now they're altering their teeth to be like vampires. And we might laugh them off, right? Being like, that would never happen. That is never a thing we would do. But look at trends of tattoos, you know, like apparently Gen Z has like a certain style of tattoo that I just don't understand. And every tattoo artist, when I see on TikTok, they're just like, they're going to regret it. Like that's such a standard style of tattoo. They're going to absolutely regret it. The millennial one is the patchwork tattoo, where it's just like a bunch of different types of tattoos. I think those look cool. But, you know, so it's kind of like, well, how far are we? Like, I know the idea of someone getting their ears to look like a fairy. We're like, oh, that's so weird. Only random people would do that. But I'm seeing blackout tattoos way more now. People who have their entire body, face and everything tattooed, it's becoming a lot more popular. Now, you do you, boo. I don't care. But, and I'm not saying just because people are getting more tattoos means we're going to turn into the Capitol. But fast forward 500 years from now,
it's still body modification. I mean, one of the characters, I think it's Octavia, has green skin.
Yeah.
Like she dyes her skin green. I loved every time Katniss meets President Snow, his lips are bigger.
I forgot that. That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes the residents of the Capitol very real, you have these moments of like, one's green, their makeup is insane. Everything about them is so insane. But there's a part where Katniss is thinking about like whether they annoy her or not. And I think this is like when she's first getting buffed and waxed and everything there. And Katniss thinks that she's very emotional. Like she is worried that she's going to start crying. Instead, she's actually relieved because everyone starts talking about where they were when Katniss volunteered as tribute. Oh my God, I was in my bed. I was just getting my nails done. And then this is how I felt when I saw you go through that. And I had to sit back and I just think about every conversation. And what's one of the most popular things we say? Where were you during 9/11? Where were you when all this happened? Like that's how we tell time and location and age and stuff. But then that's, a larger global, much more mass event. But that idea of you meet someone who's gone through something so traumatic and they're talking about it, but they just bring it back to themselves. I hear that daily.
The culture in the Capitol is very narcissistic. It is a commentary on us as a society.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking of America. I can't speak to the extent that is the case elsewhere. I assume so because of social media, but I don't know that it is to the extent that it is in America.
Suzanne also made it clear that this is America. Like Pan Am was America. She's not even messing around with this whole, well, maybe they're talking, this is a commentary on Europe. No.
She says very clearly that it was once a place called North America.
Yeah. Katniss lives whereby the Appalachian Mountains are. It's like, no. This one's for you, America. This is what becomes of you.
Yeah.
In however many years. This is what happens to you. There's just so much.
It deserves a chapter by chapter breakdown.
It really does. Okay, I'm going to read some DMs.
Okay.
Faith says, as a teenager, I hated reading. This was the first book I read that truly held my interest and made me fall in love with reading. I had no clue that books could be so exciting and fast-paced. As an adult, I now see how truly terrible some of the themes are and how they call to the faults in society. And I actually appreciate it more. It's still one of my favorites. How Suzanne can trick children and adults, I will never understand.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier about how everyone read this in high school. Emma read this in high school and loved it. And it's like, this is a bad metaphor, but it's like Shrek. It has enough humor for children to appreciate, but it has a whole other layer of humor for adults to appreciate. That's the same with Suzanne's storytelling. There's a story that children, high schoolers can appreciate. And then there's this whole other metaphorical layer that you can't see until you're an adult and you've experienced the world and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And you really appreciate it for what it is.
Feel that way about Grease.
The musical?
Mm-hmm. I watched that all the time as a kid. And then I got older and I was like, there was an abortion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fair.
What I saw as a kid versus what I see every time as I rewatch it, I feel like there's always a joke or something that I missed.
Yeah,
and yet at the same time,
so dirty.
It's so
dirty.
Okay, and this one is from Sarah. Katniss is so traumatized. She literally cannot consider a future because she's carrying her family on her back. All she can think about is keeping Prim safe, even in her absence when she will be in the fight for her life. She doesn't trust her mother and has to rely on Gale to step up in her absence. She is so emotionally blunted and cannot tell what's real because she's stuck in fight or flight.
Yeah, absolutely.
The not being able to tell what's real.
We have someone who responded to our post. Eliza said, so good. Perfect first book. Katniss is a perfect, unreliable narrator. It's just like, again, Feyre in A Court of Thorns and Roses. You have to have that first person narrative for the unreliable narrator to be as good as it is.
I would argue, and I agree with all of that, so I'm not arguing you, babe. I am arguing that Suzanne masters the unreliable narrator in a way that it doesn't take much for a reader to see what Katniss is not seeing.
Right.
I don't think that Feyre's an unreliable narrator, but I do a read through and I can easily miss those things. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't until I have to pay attention a little bit more and I'm just like, oh, okay, I can see where she's being unreliable. When it comes to Katniss and the Hunger Games, though, the environment is so untrustworthy that it then makes me kind of have to question everything that I'm seeing, including Katniss. And it's done in a way that I don't think you have to be a particularly skilled reader to see what she's putting down and what Katniss is missing as well.
Yeah, it is definitely, if learning how to see an unreliable narrator was like riding a bike, this is the version with training wheels.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious that Katniss is blind to so many things.
Yeah. But the layers and layers that you can dissect, but that's what makes it fun, is like we can go into it knowing she is so unreliable. So how many rereads do you get to that you can do trying to catch everyone else's motivations that you're missing? And I think that's what makes the rereads so fun. I mean, as someone who just reread this and I haven't read it in years, where I was like, oh my God, I didn't catch all these other shady ass people doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. Kayla says, in my opinion, the movie is better. Movie Katniss feels more true, which is so interesting. I think I can see what Kayla's saying in the sense that movie Katniss is that stoic character that Katniss is meant to be. Again, I think Jennifer Lawrence did a good job if the Hunger Games was told in a third-person point of view from Peeta's perspective. Right? Not from Katniss's perspective. You can't appreciate Katniss as a character unless you hear her dialogue, in my opinion.
I agree. I think they did everything they could. What they can do, they did it to the absolute best ability.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence's performance was great. I will always remember the part where they're interviewing Katniss for the very first time and she's really nervous and then the audience laughs and then Jennifer Lawrence kind of looks out and awkwardly laughs like, wait, am I in this joke with you guys too?
Yeah.
And then she twirls and she's just kind of like, catches herself unaware. It's the layers of dialogue within. It's the fooling herself. It's the unreliable narrator. That stoic, I'm not saying anything part is there. I will have to say, Katniss is supposed to be a lot more tan, dark skin, copper.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things when they casted Jennifer Lawrence. Everyone was like, she's a white woman, so they tanned her up. I don't know. That's not a good thing. But I think Jennifer Lawrence's performance was fantastic. Wish that they had someone else for what she could portray. She did great. But I agree. There's some of that girlishness only really comes across in the POV.
Yeah.
This is from Sage. Okay, I could go on for hours, but in short, genuinely, this is one of the best novels, not just YA, but flat out novels of the 21st century. It presents a dictatorial regime in a way that's engaging to teens and adults and outlines how right and wrong can be blurred in that society because of the circumstances. Kids killing kids, Gale's entire arc, etc. It also does such a great job introducing a world and characters who you want to root for and root against. Forever my fave series, and book 1 is just a fantastic start to the series. Can you remind us, Amy, of Gale's arc? Because I can't remember Gale's arc. I remember he isn't great, but can you take us through it?
Sure. So as you mentioned, Jack, at the beginning of the Hunger Games, Gale rants about the Capitol, but can't really do anything about it and hints at wanting to run away with Katniss. Katniss doesn't pick up what he's putting down. So we then don't really see him ever again until Catching Fire. By then, he's working in the mines. He's not able to hunt with Katniss anymore. And Katniss is now like, let's run away. And he's like, huh? Okay. And Gale's a selfish, jealous bastard who doesn't see what Peeta and Katniss were doing, which was trying to survive.
Yeah.
And he's pissed that Katniss seems to have feelings for Peeta. And he's now the quote unquote cousin to justify his existence in her life. Where it really, really gets intense is Mockingjay. So Gale helps District 12 citizens escape and go to District 13, where they ultimately see Katniss again. He works his way up the brass in District 13. It's symbolized by his comms watch. I was like, oh my God, Apple Watch? What are you doing?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? This is ahead of your time. He goes to training every day. He works with Beatty on weapons. He teaches people how to do snares. And ultimately, he is the architect of some really terrible things that happen because his point of view is an eye for an eye. They have no qualms about killing us. So I'm going to think like them and kill them. Right. So the best example is in District 2. It's the last district to fall to the rebellion. And he sets a bomb trap that caves in the bunker in a mountain and mines that everyone is in. And he just wants to kill them all.
Yeah.
And Katniss convinces everyone, let them escape through the train tunnels instead. But he's like, no, we should just kill them. And it's ultimately one of his traps that gets Prim killed.
I forgot that. Thank you for taking us through that.
And I have to say where he ends up. He never goes back to District 12. He is in some other district with a big important job, thinking big important things, and never talks to Katniss again.
Like, I'll be fully honest. I could not remember his arc. I remember we don't like him, and I remember all of that. And I'm going to be bringing in Spark of the Everflame again and Henry. And I think that, I really wish we could talk to Penn again. Let's schedule another interview. Go listen to our interview with her because we talked to Penn about, and this is not a spoiler to the series or anything, that Henry is another counterbalance, and he doesn't go and kill people trapped underneath a mountain. The question ends up being, are Henry's actions too extreme when what's happening to them is extreme, right? And I think that's a good, complicated question. And I think that that's something that she runs with and does wonderful. That's not what we're seeing here. So when as I was reading this, I kept thinking about Henry, and I kept thinking, well, what they're going through is horrible. Is Gale not just reacting to and trying to fight back in a horrible, oppressive fashion, like things that have been against them? And now that you're reminding me, I'm like, no, because at first you could say yes, for how oppressed and what they're going through. Of course, you're going to retaliate, but then it goes too far.
Right. You could say it first, but the mine instance is one of those tipping points where Katniss is like, we are becoming them.
Yeah.
What is the point of this rebellion if we just become them? And if we just allow the cycle to repeat itself? And that is ultimately why they're able to keep the train open to allow the people in the mines to get out, and, a different battle ensues. The fact that it is questionable. So let me describe how Prim dies. There's a group of children, they're all refugees in the capital. A hoverplane flies overhead, silver parachutes descend, and it's got canisters of food and whatnot for children. Some of them have bombs. The bombs go off. And then the rebel medics come in to help the children, because why would you harm children? Children don't deserve to be harmed. And then the rest of the bombs go off. And what President Snow tells Katniss, and what Katniss realizes, is that it was probably President Coin from District 13 and Gale who came up with a plan to send a hovercraft that was operated by rebels to kill the children, because Gale was not above that. They didn't expect rebel medics to come in
order to make the Capitol look bad. It's pretending to
kill children and medics.
Yeah. Although not pretending, actually killing them. Yeah. But pretending to be the Capitol.
President Snow, and the great irony of Mockingjay is, I would never waste those kinds of resources.
Yeah.
Hang tight. We'll be back faster than a smoldering stare across a battlefield. As a kid, there was nothing more important than that next PlayStation game. My parents made us save for that stuff.
If only you had Acorns Early.
Yeah, because I had to carry cash, man. That's hard to keep.
Acorns Early is the smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
If you're one of those parents who likes chore charts, you can start with in-app chores trackers and teach your kids the value of $1.
By doing that, it lets your kids set their own saving goals and start building healthy money habits early. I really wish I had something like this when I was younger.
I wish my parents made me do this now.
Actually, yes.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their very own customizable debit card, giving them that extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early's spending limits and real-time spending notifications, you are always going to stay in control, parents.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app. That's 1 month free when you sign up for acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fees starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms. Amy, it is my time to shine because fall is in full swing.
All I want for fall are those big, soft sweaters that I can wear everywhere, but they are way too expensive.
Fortunately, Quince makes it easy to look polished, stay warmed, and save big without compromising on quality.
I love their elevated pieces that are just those go-to essentials for fall, including their 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. You can't get that anywhere else.
I got one of their cardigans last year. It was my favorite cardigan, and it's going to continue to be my favorite cardigan.
I have always wanted one of those giant wool coats, and I've never made the investment because they're so expensive, but I actually can get the quality that I'm looking for a decent price through Quince.
That's because by partnering directly with ethical, top-tier factories and cutting out the middleman, Quince is able to deliver luxury quality pieces at half the price of similar brands. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that feels smart, stylish, and effortless.
I love my 100% cotton button-ups that I've got for this summer. They are a perfect transition piece for summer to fall. Keep it classy and cozy this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince.
Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK to get free shipping and 365-day returns.
Quince.com/booktalk.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
Summer might be over, but hydration is never over.
I need it more than ever now that it's back to school season.
Thank goodness for Liquid IV because that is what's getting me hydrated and ready for the fall.
Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise.
3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick.
1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water is more hydrating than water alone.
Liquid IV has their new Liquid IV's Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free Hydration Energy. This is what I use daily.
It's 0 sugar, 3 times the electrolytes, and 9 essential vitamins for a sugar-free, crash-free boost.
The fact that it has natural caffeine, it's perfect for that jitter-free, sugar-free lift because you know how I react to caffeine.
And you know what? It comes in 2 amazing flavors. They have a sugar-free energy strawberry kiwi and the best sugar-free energy blackberry lemonade.
I had food poisoning this week, and I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you I had my Liquid IV in my giant tumbler, just sipping it, trying to stay hydrated, and I think it saved me.
It's scientifically formulated to support physical energy, hydration, focus, mood, and social stamina, or in Jack's case, food poisoning stamina.
Ditch the glitch with 0 sugar and 0 crash from Liquid IV.
Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with the code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK. BOOKTALK at liquidiv.com.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so I'm going to butcher a memory and you're going to tell us what happened. And then I'm going to do my like grand reveal of something, which you've heard me say before.
Mm-hmm.
I have this memory. It's towards the end. President Snow dies. And then I think someone kills the other corrupt president.
Yes. So it is...
She kills her.
Yeah. Katniss kills President Coin with her arrow. She's meant to like do some ceremonial thing to kill President Snow.
Yeah.
She turns around and kills President Coin.
Yeah.
And then you hear President Snow laughing and they can't tell how he died. He must have just died in the stampede. Like they don't know how he dies. He just ends up dying because he's tied up.
So I just remember, and I'm going to have to reread the whole thing again in order for me to remember what I was thinking. But I remember reading the ending. And I think whether it was that ending or the fact that it ends with her in a field and being happy, I just was like, this doesn't feel right. Like this ending never sat right with me. And I just kept thinking like this doesn't feel, for what this entire series was, the ending never sat right with me. And when I was taking that YA class in college, I was talking to the professor and I was like, I just don't think this ending, it just doesn't feel right to me. And the professor, take this all with a giant grain of salt, guys. So, I'm just going off of what this white man said. And he claimed that he was friends with Suzanne and that my conclusion was that ultimate power corrupts and that the system was never going to be broken. Whether she killed Coin, it was just another symbol of corruption continues. Corruption's going to continue. That's just it. But that her publisher forced her to say, no, you have to have like, this is YA. You need it to be happy. We need to have a nice wrapped up bow at the end. Like we can't have this larger metaphor. And I remember talking to the professor and I was like, that feels like that's the ending. And he said like, yeah. So he claimed that that's what happened. And that's what, Suzanne had to do that, whether it's true or not. But I just, having you're the one who's read it more recently. Could you see that having been the quote unquote true ending?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say though, if that was supposed to be the true ending and wasn't, I think it still plays out in a way that the message comes across because Katniss spends a lot of time thinking about, we're just repeating the cycle. We're allowing the cycle to repeat itself.
Yeah.
And she kind of accepts her role in that because at the end of the day, it ended up being about vengeance.
Yeah.
For Katniss, it wasn't about the greater good. As much as she understood the need for the greater good, I think that message is still there.
Yeah.
And even though Coin is killed, even though President Snow is killed, you still have people like Gale who have big fancy jobs. You still have Plutarch who's running the media. Like there are still vestiges of the old system that you can't guarantee a beautiful world. What you're left with are these two really broken people who've been broken by society and don't even know if they can still trust each other.
Yeah.
Just trying to make the best of the life that they've got.
I think that makes sense that she felt like she had to go back in time to do these stories that are tragic. Because I think now she's able to be like, not going to be YA, bitches.
Yeah.
Be whatever the fuck I want. And we know that since it's all prequel, it doesn't end well. Like, we all know this isn't going to end well. We know that there's only going to be one winner. We know that the system is going to continue. So it just makes sense there where she's like, you know what? I want the tragic, bitter endings. And that is me having not read any of the prequel stuff or having seen any of it. Because again, I need to maintain some semblance of joy and happiness. And I'm not there yet, although I will be.
I could see her writing a sequel that's set 50 years in the future and it's all gone tits up again.
Yeah, I think she will. The fact that she continues to write is just like signs that we are not in a good place in society. Cause she's like, I'm going to keep going as long as I got commentary. Yeah. I won't be like, chill, babe.
Yeah. So some of our listeners said one of the most culturally significant novels of our time, not to be dramatic. And it was way ahead of its time when it came out. So a lot of people miss the point, which is the irony because of how relevant it is right now.
Yeah.
It feels very George Orwellian.
Yeah.
Very 1984, written in 1948. And the concepts are still relevant to us now Big Brother watching, rewriting history.
Plain angles. Like, it doesn't matter when in history, the second media or some kind of coverage. I mean, even before there was media and it was just history is only told by the victors.
Mm-hmm.
I had like someone tell me, probably another professor when it's like, going through college and they're just like blowing my mind. It's can you reverse the story with the Empire? And, what's the angle if the Empire, think about Star Wars, if the Empire is good and you have these rebels that are coming in trying to dismantle this, they're the terrorist group. In Star Wars, the rebels are only the rebels because they win. Otherwise, they're the terrorists.
Yep.
And that was like the same professor. This was like, again, early, like probably like 2009. And that was like one where I remember where he was like, what do you think people in Iraq thought America was? The Empire coming in, invading a country, trying to, quote unquote, find these weapons of mass destruction that never existed.
Yeah. It was all a lie.
It was all a lie. Blaming one, a group and then trying to destroy an entire country and everything for oil. And I remember when he said that, he was like, what do you think why wouldn't America, this rich, large company, not be the empire?
It's true.
That was like a moment where I was like,
yeah. I mean, I think a lot about the American Revolution and how would this story be different if Americans lost? They would be defined as terrorists because it was like the first time guerrilla warfare was used. It was the first signs of war changing and how war was waged.
Yeah.
And, the English, the Europeans, well, not the Europeans, the French were also fighting.
But I mean, like, there's also a lot of other aspects to it, too, where it's like not saying that the, European settlers were not absolutely decimating local indigenous people. But, had the American rebels lost and England, the empire, had won, would the narrative had then been these rebel Americans or colonies were trying to take land away from the local indigenous, which we did do. It's all fucked. Again, yeah, history's told by the winners, and the winners are always the underdogs.
Yeah. I mean,
in their narration,
Right. I think often about the Cultural Revolution in China and what is now communist China. And it's easy for us who are not in China, who see the other side, who know the stories that your average Chinese person does not know because history is rewritten and things are kept from them.
Yeah.
And I know this to be truth. I've experienced it in my life and seen my white teacher who married a Chinese woman tell her stories about like the 80s in Tiananmen Square and the, tanks running over students. Most Chinese don't know about that. Anyway, so.
Well, sorry, I want to double down on what you just said. Just this past fucking week, the Smithsonian has like a whole display talking about presidents who've been impeached, and they removed Trump from that. And there was so much backlash of saying, you are trying to rewrite history. That's not even including all of the people of people of color who are being removed from history, from the different museums and everything going on. But the Smithsonian removed Trump from the inauguration. Again, there was so much pushback that they then put him back in because he was impeached twice. And it's like we in America are watching history being actively erased. And that is what happens in 50 years when someone marries someone from outside of America and doesn't know that Trump was impeached. You know what I mean?
Right. Or like in Japan, they don't teach the extent to which the Japanese were involved in the Pacific side of World War II and what they did in countries that are still recovering from that.
Hearing some of the stories you've told me of people you've known who've gone to parts of Korea and they're like, well, no, this isn't true. And it's like, yes, it is. And then people getting DNA tested and finding out that they are 50% or 25% Japanese and then wondering where the hell did that come from? And it's like, well, history, which you're trying to erase, it happened. So I think that all of this can kind of come down to where even Hunger Games, the history of how the districts came to be was retold, was rewritten. The Capitol talked about how horrible these rebellions were. And that's where all this nuclear war came from. And we are trying to save you. And that's why we have the Hunger Games, because of these rebels. But like, we're doing it because it's a celebration.
Mm-hmm. We're honoring the past to remember that we're never going to do this again.
Yeah. They're actively writing history, erasing history as the book progresses and continues. And this was written in 2008, and yet it is more relevant today than it was then.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was published in 2008, right? So it was written probably a couple years before that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to read a couple more notes. Peeta as an MMC rewired my teenage brain. He had so much charisma and was so genuine. The riz that this kid had was the way he was like hustling, trying to get kisses from her. I'm injured. You can kiss me.
Yeah, the movies did Peeta dirty because I was so heartbroken when Peeta comes back hijacked.
Yeah.
Brainwashed, as they call it, hijacked.
Amy knows that I hate when people use my name in vain. Anything with jack off, hijack, it's so unfortunate. It's an unfortunate representation of jacks.
Yes,
but,
yes.
For this purpose, I will understand.
Someone said the quote-unquote romance was so out of place, but of course loved the book besides that. Well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be out of place.
Yeah, it is supposed to be out of place. And I was trying to remember, when is the moment where Katniss and Peeta get together? Like, when is that official, we're boyfriend, girlfriend? And it never really happens because he gets hijacked and he gets rewired and eventually comes to accept that he does love. And the feelings are there and we know they end up together.
Yeah, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
He has to say to her, you love me, real or not real. Even in their happily ever after, he still doesn't know lie from truth.
Oh, really? I forgot that. What does she say? Real?
Real. But like, they are so traumatized from the war. They can never be what they should have been. Peeta can never be the truly doting, loving husband that he could have been for Katniss. He still goes through episodes, and Katniss says in the epilogue, he still has days where he grips the couch and closes his eyes, and I can tell that he's fighting.
Yeah.
The memories.
The PTSD these kids have. I mean, talk about they're together trauma bonded. Now, in my mind, I want to believe that they are endgame soulmates happily ever after. The question also is, could they even be with anyone else?
After what they went through? Absolutely not.
No. Even from what I remember / was rewatching TikToks, even at the beginning of Catching Fire, there are small moments where you could be like, okay, there's hope here. Like, they could actually like each other. But even in those moments, it's built out of trauma of what they both went through. If none of them had they would never have talked. And would they have even gotten together? I don't think Katniss would have ever recognized that he's not soft and wouldn't respect him.
Right. Absolutely. And honestly, he would have never had a reason to confess his feelings.
Yeah.
And his parents certainly wouldn't have let him be with her. He's in town and she's from the scene. And, there's a class divide even within the class divides.
Right.
Maybe Katniss could have been with Gale purely because he was right there. But the second she went to the Hunger Games, it was game over for Gale.
Yeah.
Because he could never understand what she went through. And only Peeta could understand that.
And that's the part that I know whenever I do reread the rest of it, whenever we inevitably will cover this whole series book by book, is understanding that Peeta and Katniss may not ever have been that OTP endgame. They are endgame because
circumstance.
They are what they have left. Doesn't mean they don't love each other. Doesn't mean, you can also argue that a bond is a bond.
Yeah.
Trauma bond or not. A bond is a bond. Doesn't mean that they don't actually love each other. Doesn't mean that they don't actually have very real romantic feelings. It's just like, could they have actually been anything else?
It's not like they were fated mates.
Yeah.
Right? And that's life. maybe there are some people out in the world who are soulmates, and no matter what happens, no matter how you change the decisions that were made, they would have always found each other. But for the rest of us normal people, it's about circumstance and the decisions you make and the things that happen to you make you compatible or incompatible with certain types of people.
There's a reason why you hear, right person, wrong time. Mm-hmm. You hear that a lot of time with situations. I haven't experienced that. It's always been the wrong person. But that's a concept you do hear, and that is real. Circumstances where people are in life, one person might want to settle down more. One person might want to not want kids right away. Maybe someone wants kids. Maybe someone doesn't want kids. Maybe it's about drive and career. There's a million things. Those are circumstances. And being a part of a rebellion and dealing with the aftermath of that rebellion, those are also circumstances.
Yeah.
All right. A couple more comments and then wrap up.
A lot of people saying they read it when they were young and either it made them love reading, they loved it then, but they haven't reread, or they're like, oh, I've reread it now and I have a different level of appreciation.
Yeah. One of the best political commentaries in 2010s and today.
Ooh, someone said, I really liked it and it's fun to unspool deeper meanings, like name choices and Roman history.
Ooh.
That's one of the things that they talk about in the Mockingjay is Panem is short for Panem et, I forget what the other word is, but basically it means bread and circus.
Oh.
Panem et circenses, which literally means bread and circuses.
I probably would have figured that out with my Latin.
Yeah, good for you.
I say that having you told me. Real easy.
The phrase refers to the Roman practice of appeasing the public by providing them with food and entertainment to distract them from more important political matters. Why do we think professional sports are such a big deal in America?
It distracts us. It takes away people from having to critically think about anything else and being able to put all your energy, rage, and joy into one thing rather than displacing that anywhere else. Why is it that a certain orange man is doing a million other things rather than releasing certain files that he is 100% in?
I always wondered why the Super Bowl was so close to inauguration.
Oh, wow. Amy blew all of our minds today, I'm assuming. Yeah. There's every once in a while I'll land on conspiracy theory TikTok. And it's like, say in the comments, what's your number one conspiracy theory that you truly believe in? And now I'm borderline, I can believe that. And it is that the government purposely does not support veterans, because if they were actually supported, they would be the first ones to turn against the government and be capable of bringing them down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
Colleen says, mic drop.
Oh, yeah. Amy. Yeah.
Well, and then it's followed by March Madness.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and then if you're not into that, there's all of the Academy Awards, the Grammys. It's a lot of distraction.
And we willfully submit.
Yeah.
We want the escape.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anybody for wanting the escape. I want to escape as well.
I want to constantly escape. I am escaping both through reading and writing, and would like to physically escape through marriage. And if anyone has a brother or something
to offer as
or
tribute.
Once in your life, tribute. It's just incredible how many times I've or not how many times, I've only done this a few times where I'm like, if anyone knows a guy, let me know. And then the DMs that we will get of I am so sorry, I literally don't know any good men. Tragic, heartbreaking. Okay. When I read this for the first time years ago, I thought it was shit. I didn't know authors could be so ruthless killing off characters. When Rue died, even rereading that, I was doing my makeup and I just kept thinking when I was listening to it, I was like, why did I listen to this now? I am struggling so hard. Don't cry. I had to keep dabbing my eyelashes, trying to put them on my mascara. It is tragic. It is heartbreaking. It is perfect.
Can you guess the only time in the series I cried?
Ooh, yeah. Hold on. Nothing to do with the siblings. I mean, maybe the volunteering is tribute, because I feel like you would volunteer for your siblings, but you'd probably be more pissed about it. It was probably a time when Katniss wasn't given credit or something. I don't think you cried during Rue's death. All right. I don't know what.
At the end of the Mockingjay, when...
Oh, we're talking whole series.
Sorry. Whole series.
I was... Fortunately for you, I don't remember.
At the end of the Mockingjay, Katniss returns to District 12 when she's forgiven of her war crimes. And Buttercup, Prim's cat, has walked all the way from District 13 back to District 12, is malnourished. And he's meowing at her, where's Prim? And she's yelling at the cat, she's dead! Leave me alone! She's not coming back! And then they take care of each other.
I can see that hurting you right now. Like if you were to really think about it, you would probably start crying right now. Like thinking about like...
The poor cat! It doesn't understand. Oh, I sobbed like a baby.
Oh, really?
Poor Buttercup.
Oh. Who would be able to make that distance? Dahlia or Soba? 1, 2, 3.
Dahlia.
Soba.
Dahlia, I think, would be a more ruthless than Soba.
I've seen Dahlia pounce at flies. She wouldn't survive because she has zero coordination. She wouldn't be able to catch anything.
Soba is just as clumsy as her.
But yeah, I feel like he'll try more.
Maybe. She would boss him around and he would feed her. He would sacrifice himself for her,
yeah, that's
to be
fair.
honest.
That's fair. These are Amy's cats. Having a book that kills off kids, it's not something that you read. It wasn't until, and I can't remember what movie it is, there's a lot of plays, like Shakespeare plays, a lot of like other movies, plays. If there's a child's death, it happens off screen. Mm-hmm. You don't get that on screen. And that's still today. You might see a general, like you might see it happen, but usually kids' deaths happen off screen. Not this book. Not today. Not with this one. But she knows how to use death, right? Like when you have Katniss who does her first physical killing, mm-hmm. She doesn't dwell on that too much because there's a certain amount of like, you know, like Rue, she died and Katniss thinks like, wow, that was like the first person I really killed. I feel weird about that. That's not good. Versus Peeta when Foxface died. And it wasn't even his fault. He was just collecting the murder berries and then Foxface stole some and ate it. He was really wrecked by guilt on that one. Mm-hmm. So even the deaths are used.
Yeah.
Very much so. Fantastic freaking book. You guys, we did it again. We peer pressured Amy into reading something that she eventually loved even.
I do love it. If you haven't reread it, reread it as an adult. Read the entire series. Yeah, it will mess you up.
Do you think you're going to go and read some of the prequels and watch the movies? Yeah. Let me know how that goes for you, kid.
Okay.
I need you to
I will do that for you.
Yeah, I need someone to test that water for me and then just say.
It helps that I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
So I have some distance.
Yeah.
Right? I can take on that pain for you since you keep me up to date on life.
Yeah.
I will keep you up to date on Suzanne Collins.
Every once in a while, there'll be something where I can't remember when was the last one, but every once in a while you do flag. You're like, not for you, Jack. Not for you. Move along. This ain't your show.
Yep. Don't do it.
Don't do it. But maybe regardless, maybe I'll do it. We'll see. I'm feeling mentally stable later.
This is my official plug for next week's book, A Cruel Thirst. It does not have a lot of Goodreads reviews.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
It is. Have you finished it?
Almost done with it.
Great representation of culture pre-America in California. Mm-hmm. I thought of you the entire time. I was like, Jack is going to love this.
Me too. It feels really nice to read something where Spanish has been heavily incorporated, and you don't need to know Spanish. Although, okay, random story. I keep thinking about this and I'm laughing so fucking hard, like every time I think about it. As we all know, because I mention it many times on this podcast, English wasn't my first language. I spoke Spanish lost it all, and then I speak English. And then I speak English. I can't say certain things. There's certain words, there's certain ways of saying things that I do not know. And then recently I found out Amy has given up on many aspects of correcting some of these words for me. I'm like, did you know I say this incorrectly? Yes. And I stopped correcting you a long time ago. I just gave up. We were at a bar with my mom and her husband, and she said something. And then I looked at Amy and I was like, knowing that my mom, who was not born in this country, who did not speak English, and you having known my grandparents who were immigrated to this country, English was not their first language at all. These are the people that raised me.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, you get a free pass.
So every time I fuck up, guys, just remember I get a free pass.
Even Jack's mom says irked.
Yeah. And I still struggled. So I stopped saying the word.
Which is great. That's always a solution.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for Cruel Thirst. I'm sure you guys can read it on Libby. Or can you find it on Libby? Now I want to find. Hold on.
That's a good question.
You guys, I started using Libby. Big fan of their work. Y'all, it's on Libby. The audiobook is on Libby. Do it. Kindle version, digital book is on Libby. All you need is a library card. You get connected to a bunch of libraries. And yes, if you download it now for free, go for it.
Yeah, do it.
Love it. Be a part of it. That's one, definitely indie author needs more support. Can't wait.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Next week, we'll be discussing A Cruel Thirst by Angela Montoya.
We would love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. If you'd like to submit your take on any of the books we plan to discuss later this autumnish, please be sure to follow us on Instagram, where we ask for listener submissions.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk.
Bye.
As a kid, there was nothing more important than that next PlayStation game. My parents made us save for that stuff.
If only you had Acorns Early.
Yeah, because I had to carry cash, man. That's hard to keep.
Acorns Early is the smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
If you're one of those parents who likes chore charts, you can start with in-app chores trackers and teach your kids the value of $1.
By doing that, it lets your kids set their own saving goals and start building healthy money habits early. I really wish I had something like this when I was younger.
I wish my parents made me do this now.
Actually, yes.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their very own customizable debit card, giving them that extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early's spending limits and real-time spending notifications, you are always going to stay in control, parents.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app. That's 1 month free when you sign up for acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fees starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms. Amy, it is my time to shine because fall is in full swing.
All I want for fall are those big, soft sweaters that I can wear everywhere, but they are way too expensive.
Fortunately, Quince makes it easy to look polished, stay warmed, and save big without compromising on quality.
I love their elevated pieces that are just those go-to essentials for fall, including their 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. You can't get that anywhere else.
I got one of their cardigans last year. It was my favorite cardigan, and it's going to continue to be my favorite cardigan.
I have always wanted one of those giant wool coats, and I've never made the investment because they're so expensive, but I actually can get the quality that I'm looking for a decent price through Quince.
That's because by partnering directly with ethical top-tier factories and cutting out the middleman, Quince is able to deliver luxury quality pieces at half the price of similar brands. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that feels smart, stylish, and effortless.
I love my 100% cotton button-ups that I've got for this summer. They're a perfect transition piece for summer to fall. Keep it classy and cozy this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince.
Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK to get free shipping and 365-day returns.
Quince.com/booktalk.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
Summer might be over, but hydration is never over.
I need it more than ever now that it's back to school season.
Thank goodness for Liquid IV, because that is what's getting me hydrated and ready for the fall.
Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise.
3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick.
1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water is more hydrating than water alone.
Liquid IV has their new Liquid IV's Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free Hydration Energy. This is what I use daily.
It's 0 sugar, 3 times the electrolytes, and 9 essential vitamins for a sugar-free, crash-free boost.
The fact that it has natural caffeine, it's perfect for that jitter-free, sugar-free lift, because you know how I react to caffeine.
And you know what? It comes in 2 amazing flavors. They have a sugar-free energy strawberry kiwi and the best sugar-free energy blackberry lemonade.
I had food poisoning this week, and I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you I had my Liquid IV in my giant tumbler, just sipping it, trying to stay hydrated, and I think it saved me.
It's scientifically formulated to support physical energy, hydration, focus, mood, and social stamina, or in Jack's case, food poisoning stamina.
Ditch the glitch with 0 sugar and 0 crash from Liquid IV.
Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with the code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK. BOOKTALK at liquidiv.com.